Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Tom and Quincy, Tom McCarthy. It's 8 o'clock on Sunday. I didn't plan on doing one of these tonight, but it was kind of a weird day in the NFL. So I was gonna talk about that for a little bit. I got my buddy Dan's gonna hop on. We'll talk about some, what happened in the league. More upsets again. It seems to be happening more and more. The Brady and the Rodgers situations is something that I want to talk about. And maybe a little Monday Night Football preview for the Pats Bears tomorrow. So, um, you know, it was an odd day in a way that there's some people that in the league where I didn't even know some of them was still actually in the league until the beginning of this season. So we'll talk about that a little bit. So I'll bring Dan in. We'll hang out for a few. We'll talk some NFL and we'll see what's up and go from there. So here comes Dan. Dan.
Hey, Tom. How you
What's
doing?
up, man?
I'm good. And so all you told me was we're talking Brady and Rodgers, but I'll talk whatever NFL topics you want to talk about.
Yeah, no, it was a little bit of everything. I mean, that was the main thing that I wanted to talk about. It seems like, I mean, in my opinion, I love fucking Tom Brady, so I'm not going to piss all over him, but he seems to be totally disinterested in what's going on right now with them. And
that's
I
what it looks like to me.
Like he's
on every level,
just going through the motions, right? And
yeah,
I had made a comment earlier, and I'm like, was Gronkowski that important? Like where the offense looks non-existent almost without him involved. And I know that Brate went out last week with like a neck issue, and he's over dependent on Mike Evans, I think. It looks to me anyway. So that was something that I did not imagine that they would get smoked by the Panthers. I mean, they didn't score a touchdown against the Panthers.
I told you before we even jumped on, like I did not see that coming at all. I think the Panthers are the absolute worst that the NFL has to offer.
Yeah.
And was good on them. They came out and they punched them in the face today.
They really did. And like Brady did Brady things as far as numbers wise. I mean, it wasn't fantastic or anything, but it wasn't bad.
I did see parts of the first half, and I don't know if I agree about Gronkowski being gone. I'm a huge Gronkowski fan, but he was injured a lot when he was there last year, and just what I saw in the first half was Brady overthrowing Mike Evans.
Yeah,
he was throwing to Mike Evans on almost every play, and he was throwing to Godwin, but not as much as he used to. I think Chris Godwin's, is Edelman, is his Wes Welker. That's what he's supposed to be. But like the plays I saw, it was overthrowing Mike Evans, and then carries to Leonard Fournette right into the line, looking like Sony Michel out there.
Yeah,
I didn't watch the whole game, but I wasn't shocked to see that they lost.
I guess I was a little bit surprised that when you can't score a touchdown against the Panthers is one thing. I think he threw it Evans I feel like he threw it Evans like 20 times.
It felt like that. Yeah.
So it felt like it, right? Like you said, a few to Godwin here and there. It was just like they just didn't seem like they're just not clicking like a Brady team usually clicks.
Yeah, and losing Gronkowski obviously does have an effect. I'm not saying that. I just thought he missed a lot of last season. I don't know. Like, that's not the number one reason. There are a couple guys missing. The defense isn't as good. But honestly, Brady looks like he's actually starting to age to me.
He does, and that's where like I feel like the disinterest part comes in. Like I feel that he is getting older. I mean, he isn't putting in the time he used to do when he was here, or the first year when he was there, either.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, and then the guys he was used to aren't there, and then the line's awful. They're gonna get him killed, to be honest. I think there's a lot playing into his age, the talent on the team, the players he's with. the plays he was used to, like all that stuff. And I mean, I'm sure it's easy to take when you're 35. Maybe not when you're 45. So that's
he does look
surprising.
checked out to me too.
He looks totally
He
disinterested.
looks checked out. Yeah.
He looks totally disinterested in it. And and this is what I kind of feared, when these guys stick around, because Brady, in my opinion, and I know that people have strong feelings about Brady one way or the other. He's my favorite player. I mean, he's been my favorite player for a long time. You don't want to see guys just kind of stick around too long. And I never thought that he would do that, or he wouldn't look like he did do that. And he's starting to look like maybe he did do that this one extra year or whatever. And I know he has all this other stuff going on in his life, and maybe that factors in as well. I have no fucking idea.
I think it does. I mean, I think that's
it can. I mean, if your mind's not on football, I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah,
that's a lot to pile on at one, at that age, especially if you've been doing it for 20 something years, and all of a sudden it's like, well, now I get this and I have that and I get this, and then my talents in this, and my skills are decreasing and this, and whatever. The so-called cliff that I think Coward said he was going to fall off like 10 years ago. I mean, maybe it's not necessarily a cliff, but it's the decline looks noticeable this season as opposed to any other year that I can remember. So that was one thing. So they got their ass kicked by the Carolina Panthers, which I'm shocked over. The Green Bay game, I watched the Green Bay game. All right. And I am not a fan of Aaron Rodgers, nor have I ever been a fan of Aaron Rodgers. He's been the most overrated fucking guy for however long he's been in the league, but he's a very talented dude. One, he's a total douche. So I don't mind.
The worst guy in the world. But
he is a dick.
I understand why you would call him a douche, because he is a douche. But I don't think he's the worst guy in the world.
He's not the worst guy in the world.
He is a bit of a douche. He's also kind of likable in some ways too. I don't know. Part of it too is I don't want to hang out with Tom Brady and have a beer anymore. You know what I mean? For me, it was a little bit different because I was never the biggest Brady fan.
Yeah.
Of all, I respect him. I think he's the greatest quarterback that's ever played in the NFL and one of the greatest players that's ever played in the NFL. But for whatever reason, I just never liked him as much as I liked Ortiz, Bergeron, Marchand, those guys, a handful of others. Even Gronkowski or Adam Vinatieri just felt like more likable guys. I don't know if you saw Vinatieri do Pat McAfee's podcast a few years ago. Just seems like the most down-to-earth guy from middle of nowhere, South Dakota. I know we want to get Jason in.
Jason, what's up, man?
Hey, is that Tom I hear, man? What's going on, bro?
Nothing. How you doing?
Long time no talk, my friend. How's life over there?
I had no idea you were a Packers fan.
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of Packers fans out here in Cali, man.
Really?
Yeah,
Rogers is from there.
Oh, yeah. Is it the Rogers tie-in?
Sort of, yeah. Rogers is from Chico, which is a town about 35 minutes from Sacramento up north, and I live in Fresno, which is in the central part of California. Okay. And obviously he played at Cal collegiately, so yeah, there's kind of there's a California connection there with my boy Aaron.
Nice. How you feeling about the Dodgers situation, real quick?
Okay. Well. Be careful what you wish for, my friend.
Yeah, I know.
I vented about that with Adam and Logan last week, and suffice to say, I was slightly disappointed.
I figured so. Yeah.
Just slightly.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Fire Dave Roberts. Not.
Yeah. Yeah, I meant to get on with you guys, but I got held up. I wasn't around.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
But yeah, so I decided to. This was like a last minute just to do the football one, just because I was telling Dan, I'm like, today was kind of an odd day as far as the league. It was just a weird, like the games were kind of weird that I was watching.
Yeah.
The Brady thing, the Rodgers thing, the whole Green Bay Tampa situations that they're in. Kansas City kicked the living shit out of the Niners. So that was an ass kicking, So, and I was a little bit surprised by that. I thought the Chiefs would probably win, but not like that. Like they thrashed them. So.
Yeah, they had Chad Henne in the third at the end of the third quarter.
I mean, it was like Mahomes threw for God knows what. He did whatever he wanted against them. And no one's been able to score on San Fran all season. Like they had the best defense in the league. So that was surprising to me. I'm still blown away by the Giants. I don't know how the hell they're doing it with Daniel Jones, but I don't know. Is it a Daboll thing?
Daboll's always been a good offensive coach, and I'm not shocked to see him doing well there. But overall, like the personnel on that team doesn't strike. What are they? Did they win today?
Yeah,
they're either 5-1. Yeah, so they're 6-1 now.
6-1.
I mean, so that I didn't expect that, but I expected Brian Daboll to go there and stabilize it and at least go 3-3, 3-4.
So do you think with it looks like the emergence, for lack of a better word, for Daniel Jones, do you say it's Daboll is behind that, the way that he helped Josh Allen in Buffalo as the coordinator, or I don't think that this is all of a sudden that Daniel Jones is good, so it has to be a coaching thing, right?
For the time being, I have to think that it is. I mean, maybe I don't think Daniel Jones is going to go on to have some amazing career, but for the time being, it's the best he's ever looked. What is he in year 4 now?
Yeah, I mean, he looked like trash when Judge was up there.
Yeah, terrible. I mean, like the Giants should have been drafting a quarterback this year.
Yeah, like he took a step back with Joe Judge in charge.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, and the thing too with them, it's like, I don't think that Philadelphia and Dallas thought that they would have to worry about the Giants. And they obviously do. I mean, Washington beat Green Bay, but they beat Green Bay with Heineke too. But I would have to think that Dallas and Philly probably figured they'd be shooting it out for the division.
Well, I'm not even sure Philly knew they were going to be in it. I mean, obviously they are now. They're one of the best teams in football. But
I think they thought they were better than the Giants, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. So. But now they are, and I don't know. The Cowboys have been winning. I think they won today. They played the Lions. They should have won.
Yeah, they did. They won 24-6.
Yeah. So but the NFC East has always been one of the best divisions in football, and it is again this year.
It was. That's how it was when I was growing up, at least.
Yeah.
Jason, about the Central, right? I mean, you guys have the Bears at the bottom again. The Lions and the Bears. The way that Green Bay is going right now, which isn't good.
No. Nope.
Do you think that they'd be able to overtake Minnesota to take over the lead for the division eventually, or is this going to be something that they're going to have to fight till the end of the year to even figure out what the hell they're doing with? It feels like Devontae Adams' loss is big to Rodgers. I think most of his completions today were to Aaron Jones. The passes he made downfield weren't completed to anyone that was wide receivers. They were dropping them, or he overshot them somehow. So is that a thing that, as a Packers fan, you guys are concerned about without having the receiving core that you're used to up there?
Yeah, absolutely very concerned about it because, like you just alluded to, the Packers have always had a rich history of having a very deep wide receiving core, especially having that one wide receiver that can stretch the field, make plays down the field, get yards after catch. We had it with a guy named Jordy Nelson. Yep. We had it with Devontae Adams. We had it with Robert Woods so many years ago, although Woods was more of a possession receiver, I think, than more of a yak guy, yards after catch.
Yep.
But here's the thing, Tom, bottom line. Packers aren't doing anything right offensively this year, and their defense is a whole other story. We can get into that later. But offensively right now, they are lacking that big play, deep threat. Or I'm sorry, Aaron is lacking that big play, deep threat down the field that he and Brian Gutekunst partially forced out of town. They're not going to be able to overtake Minnesota unless they make a trade before the deadline on November 1st for a game-breaking wide receiver. And I'm not talking about Jerry Jeudy from the Broncos. I'm not talking about Julio Jones from the Tennessee Titans. They need a legitimate – yeah, right. Sammy Watkins is, and stop me if you've heard this before, Sammy Watkins is injured.
I'm done with Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, I am too. Whatever Sammy Watkins had, he used up way back when he was with the Rams. Yep. So, they need a game-breaking wide receiver to open up that offense, because right now their offense is more predictable than a box of Cheerios with a toy at the bottom. They need to find a way to get a game-breaking receiver, because, Tom, if they don't get one, they're not going to overtake Minnesota, and I doubt they even finish at 500 or above.
Is there a receiver that's going to be out there that they would be able to make a move for?
Yeah, well, the number one name that's popping up is Jerry Jeudy from the Broncos.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes, I saw that. But, I mean, is he somebody that is considered – I mean, I know he was a high draft pick, and he's from Alabama too, I think. Is that someone that if they were able to acquire, they would? And if they did, would they institute him in a number one role? Because he doesn't seem to have panned out as a number one guy coming into the league like they thought he would.
Well, I mean, look, Jerry Jeudy is kind of the ultimate tease. You can see the athletic talent when he's on the field on occasion. Yeah. But I think Jeudy is like any other type of receiver, where if you take him out of one system and he's struggling in that system and you put him in another one, he could flourish. Right. The problem is, A, Green Bay's offense isn't flourishing right now. And B, his biggest obstacle would be developing a rapport with Aaron Rodgers, who anybody will tell you is not the easiest of guys to get along with. He's not exactly the guy who's going to come knocking on your door and giving you a thing of sugar that you need to bake your cookies with. He's just not going to do that. Right. So that really not only stands for Jerry Jeudy, Tom, but that stands for anybody else they acquire, because that biggest obstacle is going to be the receiver developing a relationship with Aaron Rodgers and doing it quick enough to where they can still stay in the division hunt, or at least stay in a wild card spot.
That sounds familiar to me. Get familiar with the quarterback.
Right? You haven't heard that before, have you?
I was just thinking the same thing. How many times did we hear about guys who are probably going to end up in the Hall of Fame someday? Guys who are multiple-time Pro Bowlers would come in here, and Tom doesn't like the way this guy hasn't learned the offense fast enough. I mean, I don't need the guys from the Broncos that play with Peyton. I mean, Joey Galloway, Ocho Succo. I mean, all those guys came in here and just did nothing. And I personally would go to the Hall of Fame.
I personally would love to see them try and make a move for DJ Moore out in Carolina. But from everything I've read, the Panthers are not going to part ways with him.
That's so.
So for Green Bay, if they're going to get a wide receiver of any type, it's either going to be Jerry Jeudy or bust. And I don't know who else would be able to come in and fit what they need on a short-term basis.
I know Elijah Moore. I know Elijah Moore wants out of New York, and they're not willing to cut bait on him yet either.
Should have been in on Robbie Anderson too. I don't know why they weren't, but Jerry Judy's a good name. I actually like him a lot. He hasn't been good this year, but the Broncos haven't been good this year. But if you bring someone in, and then it kind of falls into place. Romeo Doubs is a young receiver. I think this is his second year. He shows flashes of being a really good player. Ryan Tunyon, pretty solid tight end. So you bring in a Jerry Jeudy, and maybe it all falls into place. Personally, I watched most of that Packers game today. I was not feeling it with Aaron Rodgers anymore.
I think Jason's right though. I think the main obstacle is the connection to Rodgers. And
then the one other guy, Kendrick Bourne, Patriot,
which I still don't understand.
Who hasn't touched the field this year.
I don't get it.
I assume they're going to trade him at some point, and the Packers should be in on him.
Yeah, and then Green Bay also lost Randall Cobb. I think he's on IR, which means if he's not out for the rest of the year, then he's out for a good majority of the rest of the season.
He is supposed to be back. I think he only had a sprained ankle, but he's going to miss like a month.
The IR is 4 weeks at least,
5
right?
weeks. 4 weeks
5
or
weeks.
5 weeks?
5 weeks. Yeah, it's 5 weeks.
He will be back, but he's also getting up there in age too.
Yeah, he's been around for a bit. Yeah, he's been around for a bit now, but
he has.
He's a guy Rodgers trusts, though, for sure.
He's been a solid player. So all right, so the Rodgers situation with the Packers, the Brady situation with the Bucs, to me they're very similar. Where going into the year they were MVP, top 5 MVP candidates, and they were expected to be in the mix, for division, NFC Championship preview game and all that stuff we've heard about. Through 7 weeks or whatever it's been so far, they're not even close to sniffing what the NFC Championship game will be.
No.
The NFC is a little different. It's kind of odd, weird. The AFC, it's you got powerhouse teams, with the Chiefs and the Bills.
I wouldn't bet against the Bills at this point.
Like the Chargers look like garbage today. All these teams that were supposed to make the leap, didn't. Not so far, anyway. And teams that you thought were just going to be bottom of the barrel trash are the ones that have escalated, elevated their play. So if Brady and Rodgers and, those two teams in the NFC simply aren't going to be competitive, which I still have a hard time believing that they're not going to make their way there. They're too good to not in some ways. But if they don't, right? So the NFC right now, top of the hill is the Eagles, right?
Yeah. Yep.
With the Giants in Dallas right behind them, all in one division.
Yep.
So the NFC, beyond the NFC East, the Vikings. But I mean, does anyone really put all their faith in the Vikings? I don't think so.
I do like them. I just think they have so much talent. I mean, I like the Vikings and the Rams.
Yeah. In the NFC West, I don't know what to make out of it. I mean, the Rams up and down week to week. The 49ers got smoked today. Seattle, for some reason, is playing out of their ass with Geno fucking Smith at the helm, which I still can't figure that out.
Cardinals are a joke.
The Cardinals are always a joke.
Yeah.
So
and then you had Kyler Murray. You could see Kyler Murray audibly telling Coach Cliff Kingsbury, "Hey, just calm the bleep down."
Yeah.
And hey, you got the inmates running the asylum there.
Yeah.
So it's you're right, Tom. Arizona, man, Cardinals, always a joke, man.
Always a joke. I mean, they've been a joke since they've been bounced around the country back and forth wherever the hell they are.
Yeah, 1 or 2 years with Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald, one of my favorite all-time players.
Yeah,
what a shame. An absolute sin that he spent his career on that godforsaken franchise.
How many, probably 8 years in a row, he said he wants to come to the Patriots and play with Brady. He wants to come here. Never ended up here. That was
can you imagine if he ever did, Dan? Imagine if he was ever here.
He was a good player all the way until the end.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And it was, Jason, it was so ridiculous around here with the Larry Fitzgerald stuff that, some guy thought he saw him at Logan and was taking pictures at the airport, posted it saying Larry Fitzgerald.
That's one of my favorite memes.
He's at the Hertz counter getting a car. He's in Logan Airport.
I love it.
Jason, have you seen that picture?
People jumped on it. It was hilarious.
I saw it a long time ago, but I don't remember it.
It's a guy who looks exactly like Larry Fitzgerald from the side, but they'll say things like, they'll say I don't know, they'll say it's like Gronkowski re-signing with the Patriots and stuff. Like,
every
it just
single
looks
time.
like
Man.
hilarious.
Oh, it was great. And it was like people like Larry Fitzgerald's coming to the path. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, he was at Logan Airport. I'm like, Jesus, guys. I mean, like, people want
they
that.
They said it was like Carmelo Anthony and Blake Griffin, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. If they're spotted at Logan, or someone resembling that said person is spotted at Logan, they're going to the team, and people take it and run. They don't even. And that was like Dan said 8 years ago.
Right.
People really still talk about it, that he never ended up here because it wasn't him. So, there's that. But
can I read my? Can I read? So I sent this message to my friends at 3:47 p.m. today. These are my high school buddies I'm playing fantasy football with this year. If I'm starting a franchise today from scratch, I'm either taking Josh Allen or Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I'll take either of them way before Mahomes, Rodgers, or Brady. And so that's the answer I would give you. It's the Bills, the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals started a little slow, but they're turning it on now. And then, like you said, there's those NFC East teams and maybe the Vikings. I don't really believe in them, but they do have a lot of talent.
They do.
And maybe the Rams because they won it last year.
Justin Jefferson is awesome.
He might be the best receiver in the league.
But Kirk Cousins is a little iffy. I wouldn't want to pin my championship hopes on Kirk Cousins.
Totally agree. Wouldn't want to put him on Matt Stafford either, though.
No, they're pretty much the same guy to me.
I actually might take Kirk Cousins over Stafford.
Oh yeah.
Well, look. I mean,
Right.
Here's the thing about Kirk Cousins. All right, he's going to be considered. He's going to be considered an average quarterback until he can take that leap and win the big game. And I'm not talking about a wild card game. I'm not talking about a divisional championship game. I'm talking about the Super Bowl. All right. Kirk Cousins reminds me of a guy that used to play for the Cowboys a long time ago named Danny White.
Oh, Danny White. I started watching football.
Yeah, Danny White was actually a very solid NFL quarterback who had the unfortunate distinction of playing on some bad Cowboys teams.
Yeah.
In the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
But where I'm going with this is Kirk Cousins is like Danny White in that he's much better than advertised. But again, the problem with Kirk Cousins is he hasn't been able to prove that he can step up in big games. And until he does that, no one's going to take him seriously, flat out.
Yeah.
I think that's totally true. And Kirk is putting up numbers that 20 years ago would have gotten him into the Hall of Fame, but he's not going to have a shot unless he at least wins one.
I agree. Yep. Yeah. I agree 100%.
Jason, I love the Danny White reference.
I knew you would. Yep.
I vaguely remember the name, but can't say that I watched it.
When I started watching football, Dallas was on every Sunday because the Pats were blacked out. So the national games were always the Giants or Dallas on.
Danny White was the last quarterback to play for the Cowboys before they got a guy by the name of Troy Aikman. Yeah. And then after they got Troy Aikman, the rest is history. So that's why I threw the Danny White reference out there.
I love it. I love the Danny White. I had that old school Bikey shirt, the 11 shirt.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And he was a punter too.
That's right.
Fantastic.
That's right.
Bill Belichick would love that.
Oh yeah, and he got to hand off. He got to hand off to Tony Dorsett, which isn't bad.
Right.
He had Tony Hill back there and everything. So I remember the Cowboys way back. Yeah, that was good stuff. Danny White, I love it.
Danny White. So Danny White is like the Drew Bledsoe of the Cowboys.
And then he went on to like coach the arena team. The
XFL? The
Arizona Rattlers. He coached he's the head coach of the Arizona Rattlers.
That's right.
For a little while. Wow. Nice. Little retro Danny White talk. I love it.
All right, so next week, 2 hours on the 80s Cowboys.
Oh, we can do that. I'll bust out my mesh. I'll bust out my mesh Herschel Walker half shirt.
I don't have much.
Hey, Tom, I got to ask you a question, my friend.
Yes.
How many childs are walking around the downtown Boston with their Zappy jerseys on?
Too many.
Oh. Believe the hype, baby. Believe the hype.
I don't.
I actually kind of like him after last week. I'm not going to lie.
Right?
Jason, I do not have the fever. I do not have it.
I was just thinking, too, isn't Zappy the first quarterback to play for the Patriots with Z as the first letter in his last name since Scott Zolak?
I believe so. Yes.
It would have
And
to
yes, I threw a Scott Zolak reference out there too.
Yes, you are all over.
Scott
the
Zolak's
references. I'm digging
Scott
it, man.
Zolak is on TV
I'm
or
on a roll.
radio 24/7 here, though. That's the only problem. Like, if Zolak had just disappeared and like moved to like Arizona or something, then that would be a really obscure reference. But he's on the radio every day. He's on TV every day. He calls the games on Sunday. Scott Zolak is an institution.
Yeah, so it was great. He's great.
He is too. He's one of the more likable guys on 98.5.
Yeah, he's good. He's entertaining. He does a fantastic job on the radio too.
I like him. I just don't like anyone else on that show, so I never listen to it. But like occasionally he's on with like Matt McCarthy or Ted Johnson, and I'm like, yeah, these guys know what they're talking
about. Why, you're not a fan of Beetle? I like Beetle.
I'm really not.
No,
he's a likable guy. I just don't like listening to him.
Oh yeah, no, he's
seems like a cool guy.
He is a cool guy.
Yeah,
he is.
I don't know. I like Felger's. Felger just doesn't want to talk about anything but sports, and that's kind of what I like. I mean, it's like it borders on like kind of obsession. Like he won't let anyone talk about anything else but sports. So I just prefer that show. Although they're wearing on me too. They're all wearing on me very much.
I spend a lot of my time listening to them all.
Yeah, I do. Well, when I drive home now,
you know,
I listen to them every day pretty much.
Yeah, Jason. So up here, like 98.5 is the big sports channel. I mean, that's the hub, right? Sports hub.
Yeah.
So like me and Dan both frequent listeners to the channel and the shows that are on. So, you know, I happened to call Felger and Maz, who was on like they're on 2 to 6 every day. So I call into them a few times a week. You know, and Dan's called a few times too.
I used to call. I stopped around the time COVID started because I used to call when I was walking home from the gym and just. I haven't called since before COVID. Yeah.
I call like probably too much, but
you call almost every day. I mean, I hear you on my drive home.
It depends what depends what my hot take is. You know.
Mostly stocks, which I appreciate.
They can't all be gems, Jason. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they can't all be winners. I know what you're saying.
They can't all be winners, man. Like, I'm not batting 1,000. I can say that. But
that's all right, Tom. Even Jim Rice had his bad days.
This is true. But yeah, no. So it's cool because those guys are all of the guys on that channel are really cool. Like on the station. So like me and Dan have talked a million times about, you know, what they were talking about, or, you know, what's going on Boston sports wise and shit. So that's kind of cool. But, so what else did I want to talk about that today was kind of fucked up about? I wanted to talk about the Rodgers thing, the Brady thing. Oh, when they talk about quarterbacks falling off a cliff, right? And not that I have ever been a fan of this particular player to begin with, but Matt Ryan.
Wow. Right?
I mean, I was never a Matt Ryan fan, and I still to this day believe the Patriots broke his soul in that Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys saw any of that game today.
Just a couple highlights.
No.
He is.
Well, I saw him throw a pick six.
Well, that's just that's.
I think that was the only thing I saw.
I think he had 2 batted passes. I'm like, isn't he like 6'5"? Like,
he's a tall dude. He's 6'3".
He's a big guy.
I
don't know if he's 6'5", but he's 6'3".
He's a big dude. Like, he's a big guy. He's not
long arms.
He's not the aforementioned Bailey Zappi, you know, coming in at, you know, whatever the hell they say he is, which he's not. But Matt Ryan's, he's tall. So I'm like, how does someone that tall get the ball batted down?
Poor mechanics.
Poor mechanics, slow, wind up, everything. I'm like, this guy, like, he won MVP once. Like, how do you
That was the year they lost the Super Bowl.
Which he probably shouldn't have won MVP, let's be honest, but he did. You know, Brady should have won it pretty much every year, but he didn't. Matt Ryan won it. So how do you go from? And I know he's getting older too. He's been in the league a long time.
He's 37.
I was going to say he's like 10 years younger than Brady, though. So it's like
almost.
He's not that old. So it's almost like they can't use that excuse for people anymore. You like, oh, he's getting old. Like, no, because there's someone 10 years older than him playing in the league.
I think for the last 15 or so years, and Brady was the first real one. Some of these quarterbacks really don't hit their prime till they're 30 years old now.
Yeah. So I mean, you said Ryan's like 36 or 37, right?
I just pulled his reference up. He's 37.
He's 37 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he can play at all anymore.
And he really hasn't for the last couple of years.
Which is, yeah, like the
Falcons almost 4,000 yards last year.
But yeah, he looked awful.
Honestly, I agree with you. I think when they lost that Super Bowl, it just felt like he kind of started to go away. And we knew him. He was a BC guy. He's probably the best player that's ever come out of BC, or at least offensive player.
Offensively, yeah. It was Kuechly went to BC, didn't he?
Kuechly and somebody else. Somebody we're forgetting.
There's a few good
Howie
ones.
Long, maybe?
Howie Long?
Howie Long went to Villanova.
Yeah, he's a Villanova grad.
All right. There's some other defensive player.
He's from Charlestown, I think. He's from Boston.
Yes. Yeah, there's a plaque for him in Charlestown because I would walk by it on my way home from work every day.
Oh, really?
Years. Yeah.
Remember Mike Mamula was a BC guy.
Oh, wow. What happened to that
guy? Right. He went like number 7 to the Eagles in that draft. And he was
actually
awful.
Yeah. What about another BC product? My former guy, Mark Chmura, American Chewy.
Chmura.
Remember Mark Chmura?
I remember Mark Chmura. He's a rapist.
Yeah, he had a lot more success in a hot tub with co-eds than he did on a football field, surprisingly.
Yes. You know what? I think if I had to choose one or the other, I'd go with option A.
I would too.
Yeah, me too. I tend to go non-rapist.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, whatever. You know. Tend to, yeah, of course.
I tend to. Talent withstanding, I go the other way, but Jesus. Yeah, so Jason, your thoughts AFC tomorrow night with the Zappe Mac Jones controversy, which I don't think is a controversy, but some people do. I'm in the minority, I'm sure. So
yeah, I think look, the mainstream media wants to make it a controversy simply because the Patriots right now are in year 3 of post Brady.
Yeah.
And they're trying right now, the organization is trying to figure out, what direction are they going to go? Who are they going to go with? And look, what Mac Jones did last season was very fun. It was exciting. The Patriots made the postseason with him. Right. I've seen the talent in Mac Jones, but I've also seen a small sample size of Zappe, and I can see a little bit of Zappe in there. But here's the thing, though. I mean, who's better suited to command that offense? Is it Zappe or Mac Jones? Does Mac Jones have more familiarity with the playbook, or does Zappe? Knowing Bill Belichick the way you guys do, you know him a hell of a lot better than I do because I live out here on the West Coast. But looking at it from afar, Bill Belichick stays with the guys that he trusts. And I would think that regardless of what rift he may have with Mac Jones or what rift he doesn't have, he may want to put Mac back in there, assuming that he's fully healthy and ready to go.
That's kind of how I felt. And I got some backlash for that, but that's okay.
That's
exactly what I would think. I mean, I don't know, but I would expect Mac Jones to be playing this, tomorrow, this week. You would think he knows the playbook better. He has been here for a year and a half.
Yeah.
I mean,
my opinion on it, because I have a lot of friends that they got Zappe fever, and I don't. My thing is like, well, Mac Jones turned the ball over a lot, which he did, but he did based on that offense that they installed for him for some ridiculous reason they changed from last year. So the offense that Zappe's been playing in is last year's offense that Mac Jones flourished in.
Yeah.
So if that offense was intact from week 1, then the the discussion would be far different. And I know that Mac Jones got hurt, and there's not much you can do about that. But if Mac Jones was playing, or put it this way, if Bailey Zappi was playing in the offense that Mac Jones had to play in for the first 3 weeks, I don't think you would see the results that you've seen from Zappi in the previous 3 games. So if Mac Jones was playing with what he played with last year, then I think that the outcome of those games would have been far different than they were.
Yeah, agreed. And obviously the Patriots had more turnover on the offensive side of the ball as well in the offseason. So they lost a couple of other key components. I don't remember which guys. I'm sure you do, Tom. But the Patriots right now they just feel like they're kind of at the worst spot in their post-Brady transition era right now. And but look, Bill Belichick is supposed to be a genius at sniffing out a lot of this hidden talent.
Yeah.
Maybe, who knows? I mean, if Zappi, let's say Jones goes out, plays, gets hurt again, Zappi goes back in and continues to light it up, continues to ignite that Gillette crowd. Quarterback controversy, then yeah, definitely. And stranger things have happened.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of in the mindset that I think if Mac Jones is healthy to play tomorrow, then you
put him in there,
right? And if he,
yep.
And again, my thing, if he goes out and he sucks against the Bears, which I don't envision that happening, by the way, but
not going to happen
because the Bears are terrible.
Yeah,
but one of the worst teams in the league.
But if he doesn't perform, or he looks like he just can't move and showing effects of an injury still.
Yeah.
Then you have a conversation then. But if you think that he's ready to go against arguably the worst team in the league, then you should let him go and get, because next week is going to matter. It's a division game. The Jets are ahead of you, which blows my mind. So let him get a week under him, see how he plays. And if he plays well, which I think he will, then you ride Mac Jones until he shows either he can't due to injury or he simply isn't playing or performing. Then you know that you have a guy behind him that looks like he can play.
Yeah.
But to me, to give the job to Zappi now isn't anything that I would be in favor of. Not that I have a say. And my opinion is not a popular one up here right now. The Zappi people are all over me about it, but that's okay. It won't be the last time that I am in the minority. I mean, it's not the first, and it won't be the last. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You talk to Bruins fans.
Yeah, it's just I'm not saying like, oh, you've drafted him number 1, you got to keep him. That is not what I'm saying at all. And I know that a lot of times that's what people are saying, like, oh, you feel obligated to start the first round pick. No, I don't. However, that so-called first-round pick that they've now – the revisionist history up here, Jason, all the time, all right? So now after these people that praised Mac Jones last year, oh, he went to the Pro Bowl, he got into the playoffs, Now it's, well, yeah, he got to the Pro Bowl because fucking all these people bailed on him. He got to the playoffs because the division sucks. So it's like last year he did everything right. And now this year, because they have a shiny new toy with Zappi, everything he did last year doesn't mean shit.
Tom, the conversation that you're having right now is actually very similar to a conversation that's taking place out here on the West Coast, up in the Bay Area, with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers.
Yeah.
Now, we all know that Trey Lance is injured. We all know he's not coming back anytime soon. But before he got hurt and before Jimmy got hurt as well, there was that constant back and forth banter. All right, put Trey in, put Jimmy in, put Trey in, put Jimmy in. Kyle Shanahan would put Trey in for a little bit, put Jimmy in for a little bit. Where I'm going with this is exactly where you're going with Zappi and Mac Jones. Who is better suited to run that offense, who has more talent? And that's still a debate up here, especially since Jimmy Garoppolo is not exactly lighting up scoreboards up at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. So an exact carbon copy situation of what's going on out here on the West Coast with New England right now. But again, like you just reiterated, Tom, it seems like it's kind of like a flavor of the week with the Patriots. But in my estimation, Mac Jones gets the benefit of the doubt simply because his resume is a lot longer than Zappe's, regardless of what kind of lightning in a bottle is there with Zappe right now.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel, Jason. Thank you.
You're welcome. I got you covered out here on the West Coast, my man.
I love it, man.
I got you back. Remember, I got a Pedroia jersey hanging in my closet. I got your back.
Trust me, I will never forget.
Pedroia is another San Francisco guy, isn't he, though?
Is what?
I'm sorry?
No, he's Arizona Pedroia, right?
Yeah, he's Arizona State.
Arizona guy.
Yeah. Well, he played collegiately at Arizona State, but Dustin Pedroia is from Southern California. He went to he's from a place down in SoCal called Woodlake, I believe.
Okay, yeah. I thought he was a San Fran guy, but I mean,
no,
not terribly off.
Nope.
He's from Southern California. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Mac Jones. So Mac Jones was good last year, and people have forgotten this because I don't know why. Maybe
because that's what they do up here. That's what happens.
I don't know. I've been trying to be consistent about it. I liked Mac Jones so much last year because I wanted to. Honestly, I was thinking about jumping off a building if I had to watch Cam Newton play another game for the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
It was the worst performance I think I've ever seen in professional sports history was his 2020 season. I mean, I was watching, honest to God, I was watching because Joe Thuney and David Andrews were the two best players on the team, the center and the left guard. That was what I watched for, to watch those guys play.
Yeah.
So Mac Jones came in and he was good.
Recipe for success.
So Mac Jones came in and he was good and it was watchable again. I thought McDaniels was extremely conservative with him for most of the year, and it was annoying. But I feel like, I don't know, some of those restrictions have come off with Bailey Zappi this year anyway, and maybe they will with Mac Jones, hopefully. The one thing I'm worried about is if he comes out and he looks like shit against the Bears, then we're going to have a serious problem.
And that is fair. If he looks like trash and if he looks like absolute garbage against the Bears, then there needs to, there's a conversation that should be had.
The Jets beat the Broncos today.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe you play Zappe against the Jets. I mean, I don't.
The Broncos suck too, though. I mean,
I know they're not good. I know, and it makes me laugh to see them lose because I lived in Denver for 4 years and I just.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
See, I've never left here, Dan. I'm a sheltered individual.
4 years in Colorado Springs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Those were the years that Peyton Manning was playing for the Broncos too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was 11 to 15. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never left here. I moved from Randolph to Quincy. That's about the extent of my my travel. It's about 10 minutes. I'm a South Shore guy. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So you guys, overall for today, and I don't want to keep you. It's almost like 45, 50 minutes or whatever. Overall thoughts on the day and what you think is going to happen going forward. So Tampa situation, Green Bay situation, Patriots situation, the overall vibe of the league, with the Giants kind of being to me, the surprise of the NFL right now. You're going to have Buffalo there. You're going to have Kansas City, obviously. Is there any other teams that you guys can think of that either underperformed so far in the first half or overperformed to the fact that they will fall, come crashing to a halt and some of these other teams might elevate themselves? Or do you think that what we see right now going into week 8 of a 17-week season, is this what you think that we're going to be looking at? And this is how maybe this is just going to ride out the way it is, and we're going to end up at the end of the season with similar standings and, people where they are now is where they're going to be? Or what do you guys think about that? Is there going to be like a surprise of the second half, I guess you could call it?
Dan, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, nothing I think you're right. I mean, Brady and Rodgers, they're going to figure it out to some extent. I think both of those teams are still making the playoffs. I think the Vikings are winning the North. The Buccaneers are probably going to win the NFC South. I don't know. I mean, the Bengals are a team I like to watch. Nothing else really jumps out at me. You're right. Bills, Kansas City. Maybe the Rams will figure it out. I mean, I think that's kind of where we are at this point, to be honest with you. The Eagles and the Vikings are going to be in it, and maybe the Cowboys. And that's more or less where I'm at.
All right. So one more thing that me and Dan were going to talk about earlier. There's rumors, and I know how they work. Rumors are rumors, right?
Yep.
And with the current state of what Buccaneers look like and Brady's total disinterest, right? There's been rumors that Brady would possibly come back to New England for a year. Now, that would it would be interesting because you got the current situation. However, you do have, if something happens where Mac Jones doesn't perform and become the guy that they thought he was going to become, and you're reliant on a fourth round, third string quarterback, but Brady makes himself available. Do you guys think that is a possibility, or is it just totally ridiculous to even bring up? Because I don't know anymore. I don't consider anything ridiculous at this point. I really don't.
This was one of the few notes that I brought because we have been seeing it a lot this week. Like all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, my buddy in Tampa knows. Brady said to his the guy that works on the field that he's
Sully told his caddy that
Sully on the bowl gang. He said his sister's cousin's cat told him Tom Brady was at the pet store, and he said he's going back to Boston. I don't know. Like if Mac Jones were to like break his knee next game and it was just Bailey Zappi, I might consider it. Bill Belichick will never have him back here. Not only that, is he a major step up from Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi at this point? I don't know if he is.
I would think he is just because he's. I think so, but again, it's the.
But he's not throwing to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He's throwing to Devontae Parker and Jacoby Myers, who are good players, but not. They're not.
But he's thrown to worse though in his career.
I know. He's won Super Bowls with Danny Amendola.
And that's kind of been the one thing about Tom Brady that people like myself love, and people that hate him more for it. So it's like, how does he do it if he only has these guys? But he still did it. I don't know how the fuck he did it, but he did it. So I would be shocked if that was a legitimate possibility. I personally would love it.
I'd like it. I think ultimately Bill Belichick would just simply
I just don't see it. I just personally don't see it. I think that he left on really sour terms from what I understand. Again, and this is just from what I know as much as everyone else does. What you read and what you hear. I can't see him coming back here to like finish his career type thing. I just
came up at the end of last week, and I thought about it, and I simply just couldn't see it again.
Yeah, I just think that if it was a team in total disarray, I guess, which they are not.
Cam Newton and Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, I mean that would have been the time, or you could have kept him. So you got that.
Well, yeah.
But I personally don't see that happening. However, if that was ever the case, I would be thrilled. But no, I don't really think that's not gonna work out. I think I'd be surprised if he finishes out the string this year, if they can continue to get him killed the way they've done so far. It's sad to see, man. I don't like when that happens to athletes in any sport. It's just like, man, maybe you just shouldn't have come back. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they turn it around and he ends up back in the NFC Championship game again anyway. Because there's never been a guy like that. There's never been a guy like him. So it's tough to know and tough to, kind of map out what the hell he's going to do because you're really not sure. If he's invested in the team and he's invested in, getting in winning, then they're going to win. But if he looks the way he's looked the past couple of weeks with just total, like he does not want to be there, then it's not going to happen for them anymore. And that was a quick run for them down there. They got one out of him. And, you go from there, and maybe he just has to walk away and go take your $400 million fucking dollars, whatever it is that you were offered to be an analyst, which I think he's not going to be fun at either. He's going to be boring. But then again, I go, well, he's going to be boring. And then you go, why? But he's Tom Brady, so he'll probably do great. But personally, I don't think that job fits him.
I don't think it does either, which is weird because he signed like a 9-year contract or something.
It's just ridiculous, like $400 million or something. But I mean, as much as people used to piss on Peyton Manning for his like goofiness and whatever the hell is like, oh shucks, that attitude, he's actually a very likable, personable person.
He really is. I actually enjoy a good Manning cast every once in a while.
I mean, he's pretty entertaining. I think that if you put him in the position that Brady's going to take over for, was it NBC or whatever?
I think it was Fox, but whatever.
Was it Fox? Yeah, whatever
I thought it was, yeah.
But I think that Manning would be better than Brady would. I mean, Brady doesn't really say anything. He doesn't really do anything, I think
it's going to I'm worried that it's just going to devolve into Brady telling stories about the 2004 Patriots.
Pretty much.
And he's going to be talking about how he's the greatest ever, and it's going to get old fast.
A lot of story time.
Yeah, and I'm worried, is he going to be interested in a Raiders-Chiefs game on Monday night on October 23rd? I don't think so.
If I was worth $500 million, I'm not investing my time in doing that job. You know what I mean?
We'll see. He's also never been the most personable guy.
No, that's what I mean. That's why I was kind of surprised that they even offered that position to him. But then you think of, because he's considered the greatest player ever, that's why they want him.
They want his face. They want to put the 7 Super Bowl, titles up there and all that.
If they could rely on Lawrence Taylor to behave himself, they could have put him in the booth. He'd be entertaining. But they can't rely on him to keep his mouth shut.
I don't know. I saw Deion Sanders on 60 Minutes.
Yeah, Deion. Yeah.
Deion's awesome, actually.
Deion's great.
Yeah.
Jason, what's the feeling out in California about Tom Brady since it's a national thing? I know that the majority of the people I talk to that don't live around here, hate him. They absolutely hate him. So
it's pretty much the same sentiment out here as well, except up in the Bay Area, because Tom Brady, of course, is from San Mateo, which is in the East Bay Area. As you're driving down the 580 from Oakland, or going to Oakland, I'm sorry. Honestly, Tom, it's mixed bag out here with Brady. If you live in the Bay Area, and if you live in the San Mateo, Concord area, you're gonna like Tom Brady. But everywhere else in California, it's hit or miss. You're gonna find that small chunk of population that loves him, and that small chunk of population, which I'm in, that thinks he's just a fucking douchebag, and who wants to spend more time sunbathing on the beach nude with cucumbers in his eyes than because Giselle turned him into a freaking fruit. But it's really mixed bag with Brady out here in terms of popularity. And actually, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if when he does finally hang up the sneakers and the cleats, if he tries to jump back into sports ownership. It won't be with the Dolphins. It won't be with the Dolphins, obviously, because of what happened to them. But I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to find a way to sneak into a partial ownership group with another NFL team. I really wouldn't. It seems like he wants to be at the very front of the ship, the way Robert Kraft has been there in Foxborough all those years. So, and the only way he comes back to New England, guys, is if he signs a 10-day contract to announce his retirement.
Retirement.
I agree. I think I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think the disinterest that you see in him now is because that whole Miami Dolphins thing blew up and came out?
No. The disinterest there has been long before that. Tom, I think it was after he won his 4th Super Bowl was when we all started finally saying, "You fucking asshole," But there are other reasons too. I think, in interviews, in press conferences, he just comes off as being really disingenuous, and he comes off as being like a really smug bastard. Yeah. And, I kind of equate him to Joe Montana. I hated Joe Montana because he was so damn good on the football field. But personality-wise, they're a complete 180.
Yeah.
But I hate Brady because he's so damn good as a quarterback, but I hate him even more because he's just not personable. And Aaron Rodgers is the same way. As much as I've marveled at Aaron Rodgers' talent on the field, the guy's an a-hole. He knows it, and he doesn't care. Same thing with Brady. He knows everybody views him as a royal-class jerk. He doesn't care as long as those pretty boy good looks wearing those nice Gucci coats still look good on him. He's A-okay with that.
Do you think that Rodgers, unlike, because Brady's just won so much, and I think a lot of people hate it because he won so much.
Yeah.
The backlash I hear about Rodgers, beyond him being kind of douchey, is that he simply doesn't win enough. Like, he should have won more than one Super Bowl by now. And he's choked in some pretty hardcore games. They had home field advantage, with 3 NFC games, and he lost them all. Was it 4?
Yep. He's lost to the 49ers 4 times in the postseason. And either that came in an NFC championship game or it came in the divisional round. So the thing with Aaron Rodgers and Tom, I noticed this a lot last year when they lost to the Niners, is that when Rodgers is out there on the field, it looks like he just doesn't care. It looks like he's just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Like he honestly says, okay, great. He's fine with his 1 Super Bowl ring. He's fine with his WWE championship belt and the RELAX saying he's got endorsement.
4 MVPs.
Yeah, exactly. He's fine with what he has.
Which he shouldn't have, by the way.
Right. At best, 1 or 2, but not 4.
I'll give him 2. I'll give him 2.
Yeah. But Rodgers, right? Aaron just looks like he doesn't want to be on the football field. If he really wanted to, he could elevate the Packers to be so much better than what they are, with a few minor restrictions, of course, i.e. a game-breaking wide receiver. But it just looks like he doesn't want to be out there on the field.
And then he gets off the field, and you listen to him, and he has that same personality. He's like, "Yeah, man, it was all good out there. We were just doing our thing. We were just rolling around, whatever.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help his case at all.
No.
Personally, would I rather hang out with him than Tom Brady? Yes. And you're right, the Mannings, and some of these other guys we haven't liked over the years.
I think Aaron Rodgers would be the life of a party, man. He would be the life of the party.
Yeah, because he's the 4-time MVP, Super Bowl winning quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. But when you compare him to his peers, right, like he's starting to fall really short.
But hey, let's give him credit for one thing, guys. He looks fan-freaking-tastic with a mullet.
Yeah, he does, which I appreciate because I rocked one of those for many years, Jason. So
right.
I do appreciate the good mullet. It wasn't even called a mullet when I had one. They called it that afterwards. So, but yeah, guys, this was cool. I won't keep it. It's been an hour, so overall, I just wanted, the Brady thing was my main. I don't know what the hell to think of him and Rodgers, man. The expectations for the Packers and the Buccaneers were far greater than what they have coming through so far today, up to this date. The league's kind of upside down in a way. Everyone expected the AFC West to be this powerhouse, and the only team that's winning is the Chiefs. Which
I'm so sick of the Chiefs too.
So am I. And then
every week they're on primetime. I
what I hate
watching Patrick Mahomes.
Dan, you know what I hate the most about the Chiefs being good? The worst
yes,
spot.
Yes, you told me. I know exactly what it is. Every primetime game, every single commercial break, it comes back to them comparing Patrick Mahomes to some Hall of Fame quarterback.
It drives me insane.
It drives me crazy too. And I actually hate watching Patrick Mahomes. I'm just tired of watching him run back and forth 40 yards on a play, then he puts the ball in his left hand and does a spinning throw.
I'm
just tired of watching it. Like, he's a good player, but I don't want to watch him every single week. I don't know why NBC thinks I do.
He's a ridiculously talented guy, and I'm not taking anything away from him at all. But I mean, when he won that Super Bowl, they're like, "Oh, move over Brady." I'm like, dude,
the baby goat.
I'm like, he's won 6 more, not 1, 6. It's like he's won 6 more than you. Like, you can't do that. And the thing I heard today, which I almost whipped a bear through my TV. Well, if this keeps going at the pace, then Travis Kelce's the best tight end in the history of the NFL. I'm like, I want.
He might get the numbers. He might get the numbers. But
Tony Gonzalez has the numbers. Antonio Gates has the numbers.
And then it's Gronk.
Then there's Gronkowski is in a league. There is no one close to what Gronkowski did. No, none of them are close to the complete player that Gronkowski is. None of them block. Kelce's a wide receiver. He would.
He's slightly bigger than a wide receiver. I know, and I agree.
Reason, and Travis Kelce's the only reason he plays tight end.
Yeah,
the only reason. He is
for
not.
For my money, close. It's Rob Gronkowski.
Rob Gronkowski by a mile. He didn't
have the numbers. 4 Super Bowls.
By a mile.
10 years.
By a mile. By a fucking mile. And they kept saying it today. I'm like, I can't even keep listening to this.
He was too fast for linebackers to cover. He was too big for defensive backs to tackle. He would run into the end zone with 3 guys hanging off his legs.
Yeah, and the best was, I think, it was
blown out knees, blown out elbow,
back.
I mean, a fucked up back for most of his career, and he still put up 4 Super Bowls in 10 years. He challenged those numbers that Gates and Gonzalez put up, and now the modern day tight end is based on Rob Gronkowski. It's a tall, strong, fast dude.
George Kittle.
You look at Mark Andrews. Look at Hayden Hurst. George Kittle. Yeah, all those guys. That was the Gronkowski mold.
Right now, I can think of probably 5 guys that are more of a Gronk type tight end than Travis fucking Kelce is.
I just rattled off a few. Dave Andrews, or not David Andrews, Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews, Hawkinson,
Hayden Hurst, T.J. Hawkinson. Yeah, absolutely. George Kittle, not as much, but certainly to some extent. Yeah.
Dalton Schultz, even.
Schultz, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, he's going to be the best tight end ever. I'm like, you guys, like Gronkowski's a freak. Like a freak.
Kelce's probably going to end up with the better numbers, but he's going to end up with 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, less injuries.
Yeah.
In Gronkowski's highlight reel, even just not even reception wise, but blocking wise.
I'll throw this kid out of the club.
I think it was Sergio Brown on the Colts.
Yeah, Sergio something. Yeah,
awesome. He just ran him. Simply ran him like 30 yards out of bounds and threw him.
And by the way, also one of the greatest personalities in sports
ever
when he was around. He's going to end up. He's a guy who you could totally see in the booth someday as like a third man in, just like goofing around.
Oh, he's such a meathead. It's great.
It's Rob Gronkowski on the field. Yeah, I'm going to throw this kid out of the club. Like, you can totally see that.
It's great.
Anyway, we could do a whole show on Rob Gronkowski.
Honest to God, we might have to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm totally down for that.
So, since I have Jason on air and he's a big baseball fan, I want to ask him one thing. How do you feel about the overall where baseball is as far as the playoff situation and the players involved on the teams that are in it right now? Because I had a stance the other day that I'm curious to know if anyone else agrees with. So I don't know what the ratings are. I don't really care about the ratings. I haven't watched baseball since the end of the season because the Sox just fucking made me so mad. So I haven't watched
April. You haven't watched baseball since April?
Haven't watched a single pitch of the playoffs. All I go by is what I read and what I see people post and stuff.
I mostly haven't either, but
so I don't know what the overall vibe is of the rest of the country where their teams are involved. But my point was like a lot of probably the most unlikable guys in the league in the postseason, and the one guy that I like I can't root for because he's on the Yankees. So Judge is the only guy I like. I can't root for Houston to beat the Yankees because I fucking hate Bregman.
And they are up 3-0, by the way.
And they're up 3-0, right? And they're gonna, And
they're playing tonight too. They're just gonna have to go all in on the Phillies. I'm all in on the Phillies.
But that's my other part. Like, I love Schwarber and the Dombrowski thing, and I said, I'm gonna spite watch the World Series just because.
So I retweeted that Jim Murray tweet, and then I want you to get back to Jason with the question, but I retweeted that Jim Murray tweet, and he was like, Dave Dombrowski and Kyle Schwarber are back in the World Series. Congratulations to John Henry, the Red Sox, and Chaim Bloom. And I was like, totally. I mean, and I think your thing was like my sentiments exactly. It's like, that's exactly how I feel.
It's exactly how the majority of us feel.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and as much as I love Schwarber, I fucking hate Bryce Harper.
I love Bryce Harper.
I can't stand Bryce Harper. I haven't liked Bryce Harper since he was 16. Like, I can't.
Well, I love him, ironically. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really care about the Phillies, but they're like growing on me. And now I'm like,
I get it.
Bryce Harper. If Bryce Harper acts like that in front of the Houston Astros, I'll literally pull his pants down and kiss his ass. And then you got like Rhys Hopkins. Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos. These guys are just going out to hit home runs.
Listen, I love the whole vibe of that team. I love those guys on that team, except him. So the hatred of him takes away from the like of Schwarber. So
I'm just gonna go down with him. I'm just gonna. I
hear you. This is just me. This is like just a me thing. I hate Manny Machado, so I could not root for San Diego. I've never
the Astros and the Yankees. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, but it's like in my whole life, I can't think of a time where I didn't really want to watch any team in the Final Four left because I hate one particular person on each team. And then this is the only time that I really feel that way. And it's just like, I can't watch it because I'm like, I can't celebrate them winning. Because I despise them. I despise them. I am going Phillies. I picked Houston at the beginning of the year that they would win, although I hate Altuve too.
I think I've told you this. I obviously used to hate the Yankees. I actually respect Judge and Stanton. I think they're really good players. And I'm so sick of the Houston Astros that I just like outright hate this version of the Houston Astros more than I hate the New York Yankees.
Yeah, that's happened
and
to a lot.
It would be hilarious. Yeah. Last year, the Astros went to the World Series and lost to the Braves. I would love to see the Astros go to the World Series again and lose to the Phillies.
Oh, I would love
because they act like they've won 5 in the last 8 years when you watch those cocky pricks. But they've won 1 and they've lost what? If they lost again, it would be like their 3rd World Series loss.
Yes.
Yeah.
So no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna go with Philly just because I hate everyone else more.
You kind of want to see Dombrowski stick it to the Red Sox.
Yeah, total spite.
Guy's burning money in Philadelphia, and he's still going to win one.
Yeah, he's going to the World Series with the Phillies, and we finished 5th in the division. Yeah. So I will simply hate watch and pray for the Phillies to win. I'm such a sour person when I don't know.
I think I bring it out of you, Tom.
Honest to God, like I just feel like I shouldn't care that much. I should not care.
I don't know, but because we actually watched this shit.
Tom, you remind me of Jimmy Fallon in the movie Fever Pitch, man. You're like, if you've ever seen Fever Pitch, and I hope you have.
Unfortunately, I have, yes.
Okay, yeah, you remind me of Jimmy Fallon in Fever Pitch, man. In fact, I can picture your apartment looking like Jimmy Fallon's in Fever Pitch.
When I was a 15-year-old kid, my room did look like that.
I bet. You asked me though about, like what the rest of the country feels about, what is looking like now is going to be an Astro Phillies World Series, and I can tell you, out west here, nobody's going to watch it. I think when the Padres got eliminated, there was any fleeting interest the West had in watching a World Series slowly and surely evaporated with Manny Machado's batting average. Yeah, it's just, and look, Astros and Phillies will probably be one of the lowest rated World Series in the last 10 or 15 years, just simply because the West Coast audiences, no one west of the Mississippi is going to watch it. That's bottom line.
I mean, and there's not a ton of people watching baseball anyway.
Nope. Yeah.
Well, I think the ideal thing would have been a Dodgers-Yankees rating-wise for the league is what they were hoping.
Yeah, they would have had that, like, the fall classic, and then they would have
you can always depend on the Dodgers to throw up on themselves. Like, it's amazing.
Be careful, Tom. Be careful, Tom.
I know.
Be careful. I like you, man.
I know. It's amazing to me, though. They get bounced. I'm like, I thought that they were going to roll, but I don't know. I mean, to have those two teams and then like the Astros, they're such an unlikable bunch. But I guess I'm gonna have to go. I'll have to roll Phillies and just hold my nose to the Bryce.
If you went Astros, I probably would just block you and never talk to you again. To be honest.
No, I was never going Astros, Dan.
Ever. I know.
No.
Yeah, I'm going Phillies as well. Knowing the amount of hatred I have for the Trastros, there's no way on God's good green earth can a Christian bone in my body root for a crap organization like that. I don't care if I have to root for the Phillies or not. I'm going Phillies. I think it's going to be a 6-game series, but I'm going Phillies in 6.
I like it.
Kyle Schwarber MVP as well.
That's a good call.
You know what? Surprisingly, my choice for MVP, I hope you guys are sitting down. It looks like you are. Alec Bohm, baby.
Oh.
Bohm.
Well, I mean, usually, not every case, but usually, the MVPs of the World Series are the guys that kind of creep up from the woodwork and
Steve
come out.
Pierce.
Steve Pierce.
Yeah, but also like not Steve Pierce. What were the other ones? Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, and Michael Ohl.
Well, the Atlanta Braves had I think it was an LCS MVP several years ago by the name of Francisco Cabrera, whose major league career was short-lived, but his one claim to fame was driving in the game-winning run with 2 outs to send the Braves to their first World Series at that time, which was like in 30-some-odd years, I think. So it's usually, again, the small guy that does it, but I'm going to say my MVP choice, Alec Bohm, Phillies in 6.
Put the money on it now.
Will do. I'm going to Cash App right now, baby. Punching that shit in.
That would be like that would be reminiscent to Larry Brown winning the MVP of the Super Bowl against Buffalo back in the early 90s.
Man.
Remember
right?
he had the 2 picks against Buffalo, and then he was on late night TV and like Jay Leno and I don't think
Cowboys
from Larry Brown again after.
Yeah.
Was that the Cowboys?
Yeah, Cowboys destroyed Buffalo.
It was Larry Brown, and then it was Aikman and
Emmitt Smith.
The running back. Emmitt Smith, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was the 52-17 game, I think it was. I think that was the one that he won. Something like that.
And then Larry Brown signed as a free agent with the Raiders.
Yes.
We all know what happened after that.
I think he actually had like one really good year there, and then he completely
fell off the map, man.
Yep.
But all right. Anyway, we can talk about Larry Brown and Danny White and everyone next time. You know,
do a '90s Cowboys thing.
Sure, I can do that. I can reminisce like the best of them. You kidding me?
And for the record, Jorge Soler was the World Series MVP last year.
Soler for the Braves, yeah.
That's right.
One of the most well-known players in MLB history, Jorge Soler.
Well, hip hip Soler.
Yeah. So, all right, you guys. Rest of the year, you guys have any predictions on how this season's going to end up as far as Super Bowl wise? Are you going with the favorites, or is a dark horse coming out from somewhere?
I'm sure there'll be a dark horse coming out from somewhere. I think if there's any team in the NFC that could pull off a second half surge, provided they stay healthy, it's the Rams. They have the talent to do it, but again, can they stay healthy? The Niners concern me. Their defense has gotten torched each of the last 2 weeks in a row. They're starting to get tired. But I think the Rams are capable of a second half surge in the NFC. As far as the AFC is concerned, I'm I think it's pretty much going to play out the way it is right now. Maybe the Tennessee Titans get lightning in a bottle and go on a mini run. But beyond that, I don't think anything is really going to change.
All right. So about tomorrow night, who's going, Jones or Zappe?
Mac Jones.
There you go. All right, Dan, what do you think?
For tomorrow, I think Mac Jones is playing, and I expect him to beat the Chicago Bears. And if he doesn't, it's going to be a problem. That's all I would say. And then as far as the league goes, Bills, Chiefs, Cowboys, Eagles, maybe the Vikings, maybe the Rams get into it. Yeah. I would say right now, if you're asking me to pick, gun to my head, I think the Bills are winning the Super Bowl this year.
That's fair. I can't count Brady out regardless of how the team looks so far.
And that division is trash too. So I still think they're making the
absolute garbage.
Or the playoffs, I mean.
So I'm gonna stick to, I think the AFC is gonna be the Chiefs and Bills. I would be shocked if someone else snuck in.
Maybe the Bengals. I mean, that's maybe.
Maybe.
Anybody else, I really can't see at this point.
The NFC, I think, is the only reason I leave the door open for the Buccaneers to get in is because no one is. I mean, Dallas, won again, but
I feel like
Dallas.
The Eagles are starting to separate themselves, but I don't.
Yeah, I also don't
think they're like amazing either. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I would think that it looks like the standings as they are right now are probably going to stand true to most, to some extent. But I just can't count Brady out as long as he's playing. So I would not be surprised if the Buccaneers snuck in just for the sole reason of, like you said, the division is absolute trash. So
they're going to be in the NFC Championship game against the Rams and maybe
something like that.
But even if they did that though, you think this Buccaneers team runs into the Bills or the Chiefs? I don't know. I just don't really see them pulling it out.
Yeah, I'm with
maybe.
you. I get it. I can't ever count the guy out.
No, I'm not, and I think he's going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you're right. Once he gets into the playoffs, you just never know. Especially because the NFC, I think maybe the three best teams in the league might be in the AFC. Or three out of the top four.
Yeah.
It's Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, Eagles, I would say, are the top four teams in the league, not necessarily in that order. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess we'll see if any of the guys, any of the teams can make a push that have kind of underperformed so far. No one has been overwhelmingly, even the Chiefs, they look great today, but I mean, they've looked pretty.
Yeah.
Didn't they lose to the Colts a few weeks back? I mean, the Colts are horrible. But I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, that's why they play the season out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, they're making the playoffs and they're winning that division. I mean, that's the Broncos are done. The Raiders are done. The Chiefs are winning that division. So
yeah, I was hoping
you get Patrick Mahomes into some of those games, and good luck. I think it's Bills Chiefs AFC Championship game. I don't see anything else than that.
He lit up San Francisco like that today. I mean, what's he going to do against some of these other poor defenses? My God, but. I don't know. We'll see. Again, this was kind of a last minute thing. I just felt like talking football because I was watching.
I'd love to. Yeah, it's Sunday all day. We're watching football. I love talking football.
So, if you guys ever want to hop on a Sunday after, we'll talk about whatever happened in the course of the day. If you guys are up for it, just let me know. We'll get the link and I'll send them out and we'll do it again.
Absolutely. It's always fun.
Jason, I love the California angle too because it's so detached from where we are. And then the Packers also. Yeah, but no, seriously though. Yeah, I love hearing about the what would you call it? It's very different perspective is what I would say. And I actually do really like hearing it.
Yeah. Well, it just kind of shows an interesting dichotomy that exists between sports fans in all different parts of the country. And
exactly. It's the same country, but I mean we're 3,000 miles away, and it is interesting to hear, the way you think about you're in what'd you say, San Francisco or close to San Francisco?
I live in Fresno, California, which is where Aaron Judge is from, boy.
Yes.
Fresno State, go Dogs.
There you go.
Future Red Sox Aaron Judge is from Fresno, California. Yes,
oh, that will be the best. We'll have a lot to talk about if that happens. Believe me.
Yep.
Oh man, we're gonna do a 5-hour extravaganza.
I will.
It'll be you and me going like this, drinking Bud Lights and Miller Lights for 5 hours.
Fucking right. Absolutely will be 100%.
Hey guys, I have to bail. It's dinner time for me out here right now.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Right. Thank you for coming on, man. We'll talk soon. I always like talking to you.
Yeah, Tom, it's my pleasure. I respect you. Go Sox in 23. Dan, pleasure meeting you. One of these days, I'm going to get back to Gloucester there or get back to Massachusetts. We'll share a lager and share some more stories in real life.
Yes, we will. Good, sounds good, man.
All right, guys. Peace out. Take care.
Hey, take it easy.
All right, bye.
All right, later. All right, Dan.
He wants a Sam Lager.
He wants to have a lager.
Sam Lager.
In Gloucester. All right, man. I'll let you. I didn't mean to keep it this late. I didn't mean to be on this long.
No, I don't care.
I just fucking ramble anyway. So
no, I had fun. This was a good time.
But yeah, I mean, if you I know that you're a huge Bruins guy. If you want to have a chat about the Bruins, I can put something together going down the road. Just let me know. Let me know when you're around, and I'll set it up, and you can just hop on, and we can come on and spout and, praise or rip or whatever you want to do.
The one thing about the Bruins, because you brought this up after I left what was I on Saturday? Yeah, Saturday morning.
Yeah.
The thing about the Bruins is that the fan base in a large majority, probably like 80 to 90% of the average Bruins fans just completely disagree with me on everything. So I don't know. I don't know if people will want to hear my thoughts on the Bruins. I'm very hard on the Bruins. But, I think we treat the Red Sox and the Patriots the same way. The difference is that Bruins fans just have they have the rose-colored glasses on. That's the way I would put it. So we're very hard on the Red Sox. We trash John Henry all the time. We trash the Red Sox all the time. We did it on this podcast. But trashing the Bruins, it just doesn't go over well with the fan base for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. And I don't trash the good players on the team because I think they're the only reason they ever win games.
Right.
Guys like Bergeron and Marchand. But I don't know if anyone would want to listen to me talk about the Boston Bruins. But would I do a podcast with you about the Bruins? Yes, I will sit and talk about the Bruins with you.
Yeah, we can do that if you want. We set something up going down the road. It's not any immediate thing. I mean, if you want it.
Yeah, and they're playing really well right now. By the way, they're 5-1 on the season.
Yeah.
So without their two best players, so
right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you want to talk about it, I'll set something up and I'll let you know. We can do it.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we could do because I think the Astros are going to win tonight. I was thinking maybe we could do a World Series preview kind of thing.
We can do that too.
We did talk Phillies, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, if you want, let me know.
I'll do whatever, man. I don't mind jumping on and talking about Brady and Rodgers. I don't mind jumping on and talking about the Phillies or the Bruins or whatever.
Yeah, we can do that.
Dolphins beating the Steelers, by the way. Didn't see that coming. I saw that coming.
I took Pittsburgh, so.
Did you?
Yeah. That's all right, though.
I would have bet the Dolphins, but I think it was a -300. So, what was the point?
It just wasn't my day. That's all. What are you going to do? I chalk it up to a bad day. That's all I can do, But, yeah, no, it was cool to hang out and talk to you for a bit.
Yeah.
We'll touch base through the week and shit. And, we'll see what's going on. And maybe something next week. If I'm going to do one, I'll just give you a shout.
Yeah. I don't mind jumping on these at all.
Cool.
Weekends better, but.
Yeah, weekends are better for me, too. Yeah, weekends work for me, too. So I'll reach out to you. And if you want to do it again, we can hop on and have a conversation about whatever.
For sure.
Sound
just
good?
keep me on the speed dial.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
All right, Dan. Peace out.
You too. Have a good week.
Bye. All right, guys. That was a cool went a little longer than I thought, but that was cool. Dan and Jason, thank you guys very, very much for coming on and talking football with me. So yeah, this is my first one in a bit. I haven't done one in a little while, so I'll let you guys know when we're gonna do the next one. Pats maybe, Bruins maybe, World Series preview maybe. I'll let you guys know, and I appreciate anyone that checked in. Thank you very much, and you guys have a good night. Peace out.